So, I would say the first time I was exposed to a chaplain assistant and the chaplain corps as a whole was in 2006, my first deployment to UAE. I volunteered for TCN duty. And there was a chapel team that I was introduced to there. And I began to volunteer with them. And we did flight line ministry. And from there on, I said, hey, this is it. I really enjoy this. And so as soon as I got back, I applied for retraining. The best thing about waiting that 59 months is as an aircraft armament weapons loader, I got to do great things. I got to do many things and still have an understanding of what the chaplain corps does. But people will ask that question. They'll say, how did you go from maintenance to chaplain corps? And to be honest, I'm still a maintainer. Back then I was maintaining aircraft. Now we maintain personnel. We maintain the most important resource in the Air Force, which is the men and women that we serve with, you know. And so I'm still a maintainer. I will always be a maintainer, you know. I think it's just more of I went from one resource to the most important resource of maintenance. So I would say for me to transfer into the chaplain corps, I think it was a matter of time. And fortunately, I was able to. I'm doing ministry now. It's just, this is my full-time job now. I get to do ministry full-time. That is my job. And being able to go around and lift spirits of other people, that's my job. Amen. You know, that's my job.
Did you ever think that when you joined the military, or even growing up through high school, that this would be something you would be doing?
No, sir. I did not. Matter of fact, when I joined the military, you know, I think I was open to any job that I didn't really have a specific job. I did have my own radiology and part of the medical field. However, you have so many routes. You can go pretty much any way you'd like to go. I'm thankful that I was exposed to the chaplain corps early on in my career as an A1C, being exposed to that chapel team in UAE. That immediately showed me what I wanted to do in the Air Force, and here I am today.
What made you enlist in the first place?
One of my good friends, closest friends, he's serving in Alaska right now, also a weapons loader, encouraged me to consider the Air Force when he was 1 year older than me. He graduated before me and joined the Air Force, obviously before me. And he told me, hey man, the Air Force is the way to go. I visited him at Cannon Air Force Base, which was my first base as well. It's very unique. I went and stayed with him and got to see his life, his daily life. I went with him to work. I got to see it firsthand. So again, another blessing to be able to be exposed before I even actually did it. So needless to say, I came back and I said, hey, I'm going Air Force, you know. And
what was your parents' reaction?
I think my mom, I think she could think of nothing better. I think she knew at that point, you know, college is a good thing, and people who've got a plan in place and are ready to go to college, I think you should obviously consider education. However, the Air Force provides the same. I'm able to go to school, and the career I've been able to have since I've been in, I feel blessed. It's amazing. So I enlisted in the Air Force because of the opportunity that it presented to me at that time.
Where'd you grow up?
Socorro, New Mexico.
Socorro?
Yeah. No, there's a school, there's a college there. School of Mining and Technology is there. My mom actually works there now. So that's the big attraction. People go to Socorro, New Mexico to go to that college. So, you know, like I told you before, growing up in New Mexico, my first base was Cannon Air Force Base in Clovis, New Mexico. Second base was Holloman Air Force Base, Alamogordo, New Mexico. And so we stayed home. And like I said, again, like I said before, I didn't have to sacrifice anything. My family was there. We were able to have our first son there at Cannon, and we were close to family, 4 hours away. You know, essentially I was 4 hours from home, serving the United States Air Force with my family, with my wife and my son, and still being able to be that close to family. Just being in the Air Force alone, I was able to do so many things right there in my own state where I grew up. 4 hours from where I grew up. So it's not like I had to travel far to experience these things. I was 4 hours from home doing great things in the Air Force, things I never thought I was going to do. Loading bombs, loading missiles on F16 Fighter aircraft, But growing up in Socorro, New Mexico, it's not a big town. It's not a big city. But there are opportunities out there. But I don't think, as you get closer to graduation, you get closer to deciding what you're going to do after you graduate. I think it's important for you to always consider the military. In any small town you go to, I think the military, the roots are deep there. There are many veterans there. Yep, I would say growing up in Socorro, New Mexico was a perfect spot for me to grow up. Absolutely.
So where'd you meet your wife?
I met my wife in my junior year in high school. And as I got closer to graduating again, we knew the possibility of, if I was going to consider the military, that it was going to be a strain on our relationship, however, it really wasn't. We stayed together through basic training, through tech school. During tech school is when we actually started considering marriage. And one night, after a Friday night, I was working mid-shift, and all the jets were ready to go. We were off 0700. They released us. I had my car packed, drove home to Socorro from Clovis, 4 hours away, and in the middle of the night, knocked on my wife's door and proposed on one knee. And it was again another blessing. It was amazing for me to be able to go home from my duty station to propose to my wife, or to my fiance at the time, right? Or not even fiance. I mean, to propose to my girlfriend, right? To ask her to marry me. So, got married. She moved with me to Cannon, and here we are 8 years later.
So within that 8 years, and within the short time you've been doing chaplain assistant, what's been the most memorable?
I would say there are many. If I had to pick one, a young man that was going through some tough times in life, in the Air Force, with his family, being able to walk with him each step, and during that difficult time in his life, during that trial, it's such an honor. It's such a privilege to meet somebody that are possibly at their lowest point in their life, as they feel, and to give them that hope, and to give them a new outlook on what they're facing, and to be able to see God move in their life. And all you're doing is facilitating that. You're helping that person to actually grow through whatever they're going through. And for that person to walk back into your office one day and to thank you for everything you did for them, it's very humbling, because you know in your heart that you did very, very minimal work. You did what you had to do. You supported them in everywhere you could. But it's amazing for me to see that person actually grow through whatever they're going through, and for them to come and tell me thank you for helping them. I would say that's probably the most memorable thing I've ever experienced, is for somebody to thank me for helping them. And that's what this job's all about. It's a tough time in his life, really it was. And for me he walked in the office broken, without sharing too much. I mean, obviously, just broken, completely broken. And for us to be able to walk with him, and it was a long time. But at the end result, for him to come back and to say thanks, Sheldon, thank you for everything you've done. Like, that's amazing. That's and at that point, you're like, this is my job. But more than that, I mean, the things you're able to do to help somebody, being in the Chaplain Corps gives you that ability to help somebody with no boundaries. Like, really, I mean, my job is to help that person fully. So,
what's been the most heartbreaking or most difficult for you?
Most difficult thing I've had to experience as a chaplain assistant is probably looking one of these wounded warriors that come in this hospital, looking them in the eye and reassuring them that everything's going to be okay. That knowing that what they just went through was something that only they are going to be able to, I guess, to understand or to explain to others, but looking them in the eye and reassuring them that everything's going to be fine, that we're here to support them. That's tough to look somebody in the eye when they're lying there on the stretcher, you know. They got injuries from IED blasts, and to look at them and for them to really feel your compassion for them, and to trying to say for them to believe that everything's going to be all right. You're telling them that. To actually for them to believe in you, to believe that, yes, everything's going to be okay. That's difficult. That's difficult.
How do you get through it? It can't be easy.
Not easy. Not easy. You know, our third Chaplain Corps priority is care for the caregiver. And, sir, the Chaplain Corps knows that if we don't take care of ourselves, we're not able to take care of others. And so there are many things we do to care for each other as a chapel team, as a chapel staff. There are many things. The main thing that the chaplain and I do for each other is just really invest in each other and make sure that if there's anything out of the ordinary, you know, that where each of us are doing, if we come into work, maybe notice something simple as he didn't get his cup of coffee that he normally gets. Hey, sir, how you doing today? You okay? You know, and I think really, really paying attention to how our spirit is and what we're carrying. If we're not spiritually fit ourselves, there's no way that we can help minister and to support others in their spiritual fitness as well. So how do I cope with it? I would say a lot of prayer. You know, we definitely have time to pray and to reflect on what our mission is here in the hospital. Overall, having faith in God, knowing that God is in control and that God will use us, that He'll give us the tools, the abilities that we need to support the wounded warriors and the men and women that come in here. So it's pretty. I rest assured how I cope with it is allowing God to work. That would sum it up. Let God work. And let us be the vessels of that. You know, we're truly just vessels. God does amazing things in this hospital. He allows the doctors, the medics, you know, every person in this hospital to heal these people. He gives them the capability to help heal them. Same as us. We just facilitate that healing.